In accordance with Section 5 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Laws 1975, be advised that notice of this meeting was made by posting on the bulletin board, town hall, and sending to the officially designated newspaper a list of meeting dates annually, indicating that a meeting would take place at the community center at 7 p.m. on this date. Fire exits are located in the far right corner in the back and to my immediate left in the front. We all stand for the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. So, first up, approval of minutes from our January 27th, 2026 meeting. Do I have a second? All in favor? Thank you. I don't have any correspondence this evening. I do have a report of sorts. So a couple things going on in town I just want to share with everybody. First up was a great event. I'm part of the Municipal Alliance Committee as the rec director, liaison, so to speak. And we have a great bowling event every year. It's a great bowling event, bowling with the police. And it was a good turnout this year. I encourage more families to come. It's a free day. You get to, bowl with the police officers, and you get pizza and drinks, and it's a good time. So it's free bowling. So I'm sure we'll do it again next year. We tried to move it a little earlier this year to not coincide with sports. In previous years, I had made the point that it was coinciding with the start of sports and et cetera, et cetera. So that was a good time. The other thing I attended, which is always a great time, is Read Across America at Lincoln School as a guest reader. I've done that now for about 7-8 years. It's a great experience. I had a second grade class this year. And we get to talk about all the fun stuff, the parks, the playgrounds, and sports and stuff like that. And, they have a lot of suggestions, and one of the suggestions was from one of the kids that there are a couple of them that they wanted a phone park. So I gently explained to them that, we like to keep our parks for, socializing with each other and maybe stay off the phone. So that was from second grade, so take it for what it's worth. But it's always a great time to get to read to them, and we get to do a little Q&A with, what they want to see at the playgrounds. And it seems like there's a lot of skateboarders in town, so I think there's some skateboard asks. So today I attended the Morris County Rec Director meeting. We get together a couple times a year. It's very informative. We get to share ideas and struggles and stuff that we all go through. A couple things came up today, and this is not meant to alarm or anything, but just so you know, other towns are struggling with this. So I don't know when the law was passed, but New Jersey did pass the Conceal and Carry law. So New Jersey, you're allowed to conceal and carry. However, you are not allowed to conceal and carry in a park setting or sporting event. So other towns are running into this. They're discussing signage. I don't feel at this time that we need to do that. I don't know what that would accomplish per se. But it is something that it's interesting that it was brought up today. So there are some concerns out there in other municipalities that they're going to deal with. Some other things we discussed were stuff like a long day. I'll get back to that when I remember what I was going to say. But all in all, it's a positive meeting. It's a good resource to bounce ideas. We talk background checks as well, different companies that everyone uses and how they're going about doing those. Everyone seems to do it a little differently. And again, whenever I come back from these meetings, I realize that Rockaway Borough, for small as well, we are doing a darn good job here. We're ahead in a lot of things. Even in much bigger towns, that we do a lot of stuff very well, and we're, keep things very tight and organized, and it says a lot about our small town that, what we're doing. Oh, that's what it was. So, and Mike Dory, who's here, would love to hear this. So, a lot of these towns, so they're getting parent complaints about the costs of their sports. So, why is the price so much? What's happening? And basically what is happening in a lot of these towns, no longer are they doing the volunteers doing the sports, they brought in companies. So they kind of gave up on the idea of having volunteers doing it, and now the prices have risen and everyone's complaining about that. So with that being said, I want to just say how fortunate we are for our volunteers. Our volunteers are not only out there doing the work, basketball, soccer, baseball, they're doing it all. We're not bringing any companies in, and I said that at the meeting. I said we don't bring companies in. We have great volunteers, great people, keeping the cost down for the residents, and I think that's important. I mean, they're feeling it now. They're feeling and there's nothing they can do about it, right? They don't control that price. The company controls that price. So, kudos to Rockaway Borough. Kudos to our volunteers to keep this going, and hopefully as long as we possibly can, we can continue to keep our volunteers happy and give them the resources they need to succeed. So that was a good conversation as well. So with that being said, tonight, the gentleman who took over for me after 10 long years is here, and I'd like, we talked about last meeting about bringing the directors in from each sport, throughout the year in different meetings. Mr. Mike Dory is here tonight to kind of give a little state of the union on the soccer program. And you're up, buddy, whenever. Don't be shy.
It's welcome to me. It's a very awkward room. I'm just gonna go over here, so I'm not well, thank you for having me, Rob. I'm actually here for several reasons, because all of us here, we wear several hats in town, and I think we all recognize that. So thank you, I do appreciate what everyone here does. I'm also the liaison for the Rockaway Borough Board of Education with the rec department. That's one of the main reasons I'm here tonight, because for once, our Board of Ed meeting does not coincide with your meeting, which seems to happen all the time. So thank you. I appreciate, Rob, all the support you do for our schools and the rec department in general. So thank you. Regarding the Rowdies, we are starting in a couple weeks. We did close registration. I'm also fortunate enough that Rob stepped away from RBSL, which is the league that we're part of, and somehow I became the president of that as well. I don't know how I did, but Rob.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that, Rob. But it is a fantastic league that we're part of. It's a bunch of local towns. It's still a rec league, but it's traveling in the sense that we do go to our local communities to play against each other. Speaking of pricing, we have been very fortunate, and I do have to say thank you to Rob for that. I believe our rec program, we charge $60, which I think rec programs, nothing against other programs in town, but we're very cost effective.
For example, Mike, if you don't mind being interested, we just talked the other day about a neighboring town. You can say it, go ahead. Yeah,
so Rockaway Township charges, I believe, for their rec program. I heard it was between 1 and 120. Denville, 225, which I laughed when I heard that.
And that's the same, just so we're clear, everybody, that is the same exact program we run here.
Yeah.
So they're playing in the same exact league, same exact everything, and we're able to keep our costs down to $60.
Yeah, so the difference between us and Denville, nothing against Denville, I get along with them great. They're Red Bull affiliated, so obviously that's their selling point. But our volunteers keep us very competitive as well when we play the games, and I'll leave it at that. We wouldn't listen to I'll say that as well. But another thing people forget, you still have these outside companies come in and take over, train, and do whatnot, but you still need the parent volunteers there. So that still doesn't go away, because they still need, from a liability aspect, the parent volunteer. It was very tough for the Rowdies this season to get all the volunteers. For instance, one of the lower grade levels, I'm very fortunate to John Lodwin. He was a coach last year in the spring. His daughter didn't want to do it again. I believe she's doing baseball, which to me is fantastic as long as the kids are doing something in town. I don't care what sport they do personally, whether it's acting, anything, just stay involved. But he's coming back to coach us in the spring, which I think kind of says a lot for our program in general, that parents that are, after one season, not even with the program, still want to come back and help our kids. And we've had a lot of new parent volunteers sign up this year at the younger levels, which I greatly appreciate, roping them in somehow, just to keep the program going for the kids. Because I think just in general, and I think we have to spread this around the leagues in town, parents are often scared in the sense that they don't have the knowledge of the game. To me, first, second, third grade, you don't need the knowledge of the game, you just need the kids to come back each week, and that's really what we push, and that's kind of what you instilled in me at the clinic level, which I'm doing one more season again, which is, Owen's doing it again, my son, he's in kindergarten, and I give all the credit in the world to the teachers, because this is 30 kindergarten pre-K kids, and it's chaos, I guess. Organized chaos is a nice way to put it, but it is very rewarding. So anyone that does watch the video, thank you for recording, Bobby. I do recommend getting involved, because that's something I've heard a lot at the Board of Ed meetings, and in general, all the volunteers are exhausted, because it's unfortunately the same volunteers over and over. And as I said, with soccer-wise this year, I'm very happy, because there's a lot of volunteers that, I'm sure, don't get me wrong, do volunteer elsewhere that I don't even know about yet, right. But I'm very thankful for them. But once again, I do want to hopefully, because I do talk to a lot of the individuals that run the other leagues around town, and I do think at some point we do have to collaborate together, because it's not about the soccer program, it's not about the baseball program, it's about Rockaway Borough program, and figuring out how to get all the kids as much as possible involved. Volunteers are the biggest part of that. But thank you for having me tonight, I really do appreciate it, and thank you all for all the work you do here as well.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
So, again, I want to thank Mike, and I think we all agree, Mike stepped in and took over for me, and he's done a terrific job. And I can't thank him enough for the commitment and carrying on the tradition of the Rowdies as you have, and it's no easy task, it's 2 seasons, it's a lot of uniforms, and a lot of kids, and a lot of coaching, a lot of scheduling, and obviously we work great together, and I thank you, I thank you. It is somewhat of a thankless job, and we all appreciate you stepping up and doing that, and I think you got a really good board as well. Yeah. You created that board, and the coaches are phenomenal. They're just great people, and we're going to continue to making them, give them the resources, continue giving them the resources they need, and obviously, as you know, you need equipment, anything, just let me know. With that being said, field should be ready soon. So you can tell your parents that we're working on it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. So moving on, real quick, so to new business, just some spring news. Again, we're getting the fields ready to go. DPW was out there today working hard on getting the baseball and softball fields going, trimming up some of the grass that's growing in the clay area. I have new clay ready to be installed at some of the low areas. We're working on some of the divots and potholes that are in the soccer fields. Things are still wet right now, very wet, so it's been tough. We don't want to put any heavy equipment on there. And I must say, I don't know if anyone noticed, the turf blankets that I bought late last year, they seem to work. We took them off this past week or last week, and there was definitely some grass growth under there. So it didn't cover the whole thing, not some of the bigger spots, but it definitely worked. So going forward next year, or later this year, we'll get them on earlier, maybe get some extra soil on there, seed it, and maybe we'll have some real good grass growth. But You know, those areas are getting beat up pretty good. Morse Hills is scheduled to play there Thursday at Donatoni, the big field. We'll see if that happens. Again, it's still really, really wet, so they can't play at all if it's wet. And again, at the beginning of the season, I tell everybody this, we talk about it a lot, and I know the group here knows, and for the kids and everything, we try and get the fields as nice as we can. This time of year, there's a lot of rain and stuff, but what I try and tell people so they understand, the better we take care of the fields now, in other words, we don't rush on it before the grass starts to root, we don't try and rush everything into it, whatever we do now affects us and Mike knows this about this conversation, whatever we do now affects us in October and November. So the smarter we are now, the better we are off in November, because if we start digging up the fields right now, there's no recovery throughout the year. So that's kind of the mentality and it's more so with soccer than it is with baseball, because you know they're not tearing up the fields. But you know, so far I'm real happy. Our new DPW director and I are working together on, you know, this is his first spring season, so it's new for him, and we're working together on making sure that we're on the same page with the needs and garbage cans and lining the fields and dragging the fields and all sorts of things. So otherwise, things are going very well. Next up, so this past Saturday at my budget meeting, I did bring up the hockey rink as a capital project for us this year. So I believe they'll be talking further about it in the coming weeks. Also some repairs to fencing, most notably at Memorial Park, where the plows caused some damage over there on the fence. You saw that. So we need to correct that, get that fixed, and it's an ongoing problem. You know, every couple of years it happens. We get big snow. When the snow plows go over, they dump it and it crushes that fence. So we're considering moving that fence in a little bit, so give them room to it's nobody's fault, but that has to be addressed. And I hope to address that in the very near future. Next up is Rutgers classes. So Christina's ready to go. Mike, I know we spoke, and you have still 4 to 5 people.
Yeah, 4 to 7 or 8.
4 to 7 or 8.
Yeah, I don't know. I had to go through, definitely 4.
Okay.
I had to go through the names.
Definitely 4. We'll get with Mr. Gibbons to make sure, you know, how many he has. He may have 1 or 2.
Okay.
So we'll get a schedule out.
I could offer in person and Zoom.
Okay.
So,
I'm fine with whatever.
I'm looking to get them going like the first week of April.
Okay.
Does that work?
I meant to do
Yeah,
it.
whatever.
It's all right. So, you know, just keep in mind, obviously, for those who don't know, that we cover that cost for the residents. If they end up having to take outside of town, we also cover that cost as well. So there'll be no cost to any residents wanting to, you know, it's a mandated certification that's good for life. And, you know, Christina is our trainer, and she will set up classes for you.
Perfect.
So we will get you dates.
Yeah, you can share my email with you, and like Rob Connolly, same thing. I already reached out to him today. So this way, I have your emails, and then but Rob is also like the go-between, like we have to communicate with getting the town pays for our, there's a little, but anyway, I'm trying to get everybody squared away the first 2 weeks in April, because I know once those fields open, game on.
Game on, that's exactly right. And thank you, Christine, for continuing to do
you're
that. I
welcome.
know you've been super busy with your other volunteer activities. And lastly, and I know, Mike, you sent me a sheet with some field schedulings. So it looks like, you know, we're gonna be tight. I know, Rob is working on that. I'm gonna get him on the team up site. So it looks like basically Donatoni soccer field will be booked pretty much every day, as well as Friendship, which is to be expected. And I'm expecting Smith to be fairly busy. I'm expecting Hetty ball field to be extremely busy, because I know the T-ball numbers are very high. And then I'm expecting some activity as well on the softball field. Rampage has already requested the tournament for Memorial Day weekend, which they've done in the past couple of years. So they'll be at Donatoni and Hetty again. And then we'll see. So it's going to be a busy spring season. I'm looking forward to it. And you know, we'll get the kids out hopefully in the next week or two, as long as everything stays dry and the April showers thing, and we'll see what happens. You know, it's all weather dependent. But we're getting there. We're trying hard. Moving forward, I guess we'll open the meeting to the public. Go right ahead.
Surprise, right? Joey, come on, come on. Well, anyway, this is Joey, and he's my son. He's he's been playing soccer since he's a little boy, and he is very into wanting soccer games. They're hard to find. The soccer games that we have found, the teams, they're pretty far away. Like I was telling the council, the one he found was in Metuchen. I said, what are you, crazy? I mean, 3 times a week to go down for practice and then, you know, a game. So then my husband said, why don't we put a soccer, you know, a pickup soccer team together here? And, you know, he said, find out, you know, go to the council, find out what it entails. And so we went to the council meeting to ask them, and they forwarded me to Rob. And I actually bumped into Rob last week, and we had a discussion about, you know, a lot of different aspects of doing this and making it work. And by the way, it's for 18 and up, so it's the adult crowd. And, you know, it sounded very positive that, you know, we could put something together and try it out during the summertime, which would be July, August. And, you know, I have already like 20 people interested. Most of them are between 18 and 25, which is actually what we wanted right now. There are some that are in their 40s. There are also women as well as the guys. And then we had talked in our conversation about maybe separating everybody, keeping a women's team, you know, the women play the women, so it's not so rough, by age group. So that could happen, but I need more time to get it out there. You know, they're starting to come in, you know, when people see it on everything Rockaway, put it on Rockaway Borough Parents. So, you know, the names, the people will start to come in, but, you know, it needs some time to generate. So, we're really hoping, all we need is an approval and try it out and see, you know, how it goes. You know, I don't anticipate like there would be problems because you're dealing with adults, you're not dealing with children. And, my son Joey, who knows everything about soccer, like there's nothing he doesn't know, is willing to, you know, be a big help in this to set it up. And, you know, as we go along, it's like a work in progress, you know, like anything else. You know, you start it out and then you know, it takes off and goes from there. You know, you find, you know, if there's something weak, you fix it. If something that's not working, you fix it on that end. It's easy peasy. So, you know, we're not looking, we also, I don't want this to cost any money. I also, was saying it's not gonna be like competitive games right now where, you know, we're playing other towns and there's, you know, I guess some of them are money leagues, you know, we're not doing any of that. It's just for fun and casual. And it's like, hey, you know, a group of whoever, like, you know, you send out, I guess you would do it probably through emails, who's available. Well, they would know the schedule, I guess, when the field is available. And I guess we wouldn't even be interfering with the little ones because it's July and August, right? So, you know, basically it'll be, you know, if it's raining, maybe we'll have a rain date, you know, something like that, but very easy going.
Yeah, no, and then I thank you, and just to, you know, just to give everyone a recap, so Joey here, you know, I've known him for a long time, and I can tell you he is an exceptional soccer player, and an exceptional young man as well. You know, we did have an opportunity to talk, Wendy and Angelo and Joey came into town hall a couple days ago, and we did talk about various things. We, you know, and Wendy brought up some of the things that we talked about, so obviously, especially with soccer being a contact sport, we talked about making sure that, you know, we had divisions 18 to 25, 25 to 35, you know, 35 to 40, because you don't want 50-year-olds playing with 18-year-olds and sort of thing. And we also talked about, and again, Wendy brought up, just reiterate, we talked about, you know, the co-ed aspect of it, you know, where that fits. And then the other thing we talked about briefly too was, you know, some of the rules, you know, like, because, you know, the way I explained it to Joey and Wendy was that, you know, you're gonna have, you will have parents out there that are out there for fun. They just wanna kick the ball, they may not have a ton of soccer experience, whatever, but you also will have parents that are gonna be uber aggressive, and they're going to want to run hard and kick the ball hard, and so you gotta be careful with that situation. And then again, we were just tossing back up, or, you know, just thoughts and ideas, we were bouncing off each other. So, you know, with that being said, obviously, I have to do more research on my end as far as, you know, what insurance looks like, you know, what does our risk management people say? I don't know that answer, I will do that research. I also offered too, and for Joey, you know, I'm going to reach out to a couple different places, including the high school, and see if we can work something out there as well. I believe turf would be a good option, if possible, and maybe we can have some sort of shared service with the high school. You know, I'm thinking through a lot of ideas as after our conversation, and I will continue to work on that. I can promise you that. So with that being said, I don't want to take everyone's time. So committee members, brief, do you have anything that you want to ask?
I think it's a great idea, like just with the kids, trying to get them involved with things. It's good for adults to also be able to have an outlet and do those things as well, especially in the town they live in. One thing I will say is adults do get hurt. We had a young lady in town here who plays on a women's softball league. She was in a different town and she had an orbital fracture, which was horrible. My partner, my husband, had similar situation where somebody stepped on his eyeball. So things happen, and I think that's where that risk management involvement, like it's, yes, pick up games, but people do get hurt, you know, things do happen. So it's just a matter of, if things are gonna happen, you have to make sure that it's done in a way that's protecting everybody, protecting, you know, whether we don't want alcohol, you know, some adult leagues, they wanna drink, like, you know, that's occurred before in the past, so it's like getting it all together, but I like the idea of having, you know, that.
And that's an excellent point, and we have thought through that very carefully. We can do waivers, and waivers can consist of anything from somebody getting extremely hurt to no alcohol, to no smoking, to, you know, anything we want, that if, you know, that were to happen, they would have to leave the team, or, you know, there would be consequences.
And then like, what, you were mentioning there was a league in Metuchen, like, would this be a part of a league, like, would
Oh,
you?
no, we're just gonna keep it in the borough. I was trying to point out that my son is so desperate to find a team that he was gonna drive to Metuchen to go on their team, and I'm like, that's crazy, 3 times a week, you know, in traffic, 45 minutes to an hour each way. I was like, that's insane. My husband said, you're not doing that. So that's how, you know, he came up with this idea. He said, we should really have one in town. And also too, I was thinking, I know people get hurt, you know, that could happen in the Rockaway Rowdies, it can happen anywhere. You walk across the street and get hurt. So I think to myself, we can't keep everybody in bubble wrap either in town. We have insurance, not that we're gonna avoid it at all costs, but God forbid, the worst case scenario is we do have, that's why we have insurance. So that's where that could kick in, and a waiver could both protect the town as best as, we
The
could.
young lady that got hurt, it's a $30,000 surgery, and she's on the hook for it. So, all the other, leagues in town have, the town insurance covers something, but the league itself has their own insurance. So, all the organizations that play, I believe, if I'm speaking correctly, have some form of insurance of their own to protect the players and,
But they're professional leagues, we're keeping it very casual and just fun, almost like neighbors, come on, let's go in the street and kick the ball around, it's gonna be that type of an atmosphere.
yeah.
Totally. I mean, down the road, I don't know where it could go, but at least we need a starting point to start somewhere, to try it out, and to see how it works. And I think the people of this town would really appreciate it and be, very thankful for doing this, because soccer, not to me, I'm not a soccer person, but I know soccer is so popular, and everybody's got somebody in their family who is addicted to soccer out there playing, and, so I thought it would be definitely, great for everybody else as well as my son.
Wendy,
Sure.
since it's pretty new, you're still researching all this, and you don't know, I would just, as my advice, talk to a lawyer, because we live by loopholes. A good lawyer can find a loophole in any waiver, any contract, anything anybody finds, like signs. A paper is just a paper, and the right wording can either really get anybody in trouble, or really get you out of like a major problem.
Well, we wouldn't just do it on our own.
No,
would
I
just
know,
write a
I'm
paper.
saying-
The town attorney would do up something and some type of.
I'm
waiver
just saying,
for us.
like, just because it does involve just adults, and this is how something gets ruined for the rest.
And I think if we got to that point, guys, I think that's something our attorney would have to come up with, honestly.
Right, that's what I was just
Yeah,
telling her,
it's
it
not
would be something I would.
Yeah.
But like, there's more into it than just,
No, I get it.
that's my whole thing, because we've all ran sports, and there's more than just getting, a group of people, because there will be things that happen.
But we do have an attorney, we do have an attorney that recommended is funneling us into this view itself. So it wasn't really 100% like all of us, so we do have an attorney that was, what you call talking about going this route.
So, yeah, and again, we'll continue, I promise, to
Yeah.
talk about it. I think the one thing that we talked about, touched on it briefly, is I definitely feel like, besides the fact of making sure you have first aid gear, we could probably supply that stuff on hand at all the time. But, and Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, what you think, but I think with something like this, you need what's the word, an arbitrary person, whether it's it doesn't have to be an official ref per se, but someone there to,
Some kind of
regulation, some kind of mediation, even though it's for fun,
Yes,
you get two parents that collide,
yes.
and you have an issue, you need to just have someone, but go ahead,
Oh, no, go ahead, I understand what you're saying, but I have the answer to that.
Sure.
Somebody told me that we can get refs in training to come, they would wanna come because this is all experience for them. They wouldn't require any pay, they would just be training like,
So, can I just,
Go ahead.
just to your point, and I think it's a great idea. Our daughters are the same age as Joey. We've all of our kids have grown up on these fields.
Right.
I just think advice, and this kind of goes along with what you're saying, I would strongly suggest you come up with some kind of code of conduct, because in all of my years younger playing sports and all of my years of volunteering, the issues with the parents and the adults
Mhm.
are far worse for the children. So just like Rob was saying, if you have two adults that get involved in an issue,
Mhm.
you need to have some kind of, I understand what you're saying, like, well, we'll just say they sign a waiver. A part of that should, in my opinion, be a
Right.
code of conduct. To go along with what you were saying about referees and training, we had that program through Little League. You know both of my kids, because our kids are all the same age. Both of my daughters still referee and umpiring and started at a young age. The adults are not gonna care if it's a 14-year-old who makes the decision or if it's a 40-year-old. If they get upset, it's gonna cause an issue. So you might wanna consider that as part of your research and as you're putting this
Mhm.
together, not just that waiver, but having that strict code of conduct to say specifically
Sure,
what
that's-
behaviors will be allowed
Excellent.
and what will not.
Yes, excellent.
Because I've had my 14-year-old where I was ready to go to the field and, and jump in, so.
I can't say, you know, for a fact with Little League and off the top of my head, but I know Mike and I can attest to, so if you, the refs in training, I don't know what stage they get certified with New Jersey Youth Soccer, but just so we're clear, at least I know, so the refs that do the Rowdies, they get their training through New Jersey Youth Soccer, they could be as young as 15, as old as 50. But they're liable. So when things happen, that ref is liable for everything that happens on it, just so we're clear. So, and I don't know if I wanna put a ref in training in that position, if they're at that point where they would be liable. If there's no liability, there would be no issue. But if they're liable for everything from lightning storm to a injury to a fight, so they are, so technically we cannot run a game in town or any game in our league if there's a ref not present.
Okay.
Because they are technically liable for whatever happens on that game.
Mhm.
Again, I don't wanna take it too far, cause I know we're still talking about a friendly, fun game, and Joe, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. But again, and just talking through ideas and thoughts and stuff, I do think though somebody, you know, just being a arbiter of things happen would be a key, because things can escalate quickly, we know.
Right.
And everyone could have good intentions going in, and I'm sure they will. I'm sure everyone will have good intentions. I played in adult soccer leagues. I know how it goes, and you know, you just gotta be mindful of what's out there. That's all.
And also we coach Mother Vera in,
Yes, Muggs, yep,
because he told me, you know, he'll give me any help that I need.
yep,
You know, he thought it was a great idea. He's the coach at Morris Knowles. He was Joey's coach.
yep.
Actually, Joey's worked for him, his camps and
Camps, yeah.
stuff. And, he said, whatever, you know, I can get you coaches, I can get you, you know, referees, anything you need, he said. So, you know, he would be a good person
Yeah,
to
he's a
talk
great guy,
to.
yeah, yeah, and I can, you know, certainly we get that, we can talk to him, I have a good relationship with him, not as good as Joey's, but, yeah. No, we appreciate you guys coming, and, you know, if you have anything else, please feel free, otherwise we'll
I
continue.
do think, and I've talked to Wendy a lot about this, and I've talked to you a little bit. I do think pushing the fun aspect is the key, because I'm just going to talk on behalf of the Rowdies on this one. My biggest problem isn't the kids. I wish it was, it's the parents. And Rob was obviously president of the league last year, not Rowdies, the league that we're part of, and all our red cards last year, I think were adults, which is the scariest part, because, and I'm talking fist fights, cops are called and stuff like that, so, like, and we've talked, I love this idea, because I do think adults, need an avenue and,
And maybe you'll play.
No, I get very tired when I play against the fourth and fifth grade girls. They take a run for my money. But I do think pushing the fun aspect, because that's the hardest part, because we're all competitive in some way, shape, or form. But that's always my biggest thing, the liability, and not even just someone getting hurt, just people lose, as you know, their temper over. Like, oh, that was offside. Oh no, it wasn't. Like, it could be the silliest thing, and it really was during our soccer games. Unfortunately, with some parents that it just, as Rob had said before, escalates so quickly. So I think if it sounds like you have an idea of how to run the coaching aspect and stuff, which I think kind of helps in the sense that you just pull someone off the field. You're like, no, let's take a break. And but as I said, I do love the idea, and I do think it would be a benefit to the borough once figured out.
And one thing I want to say is, like, with my guys in construction, there have been times where they invite me to play soccer with them, and, you know, it's fun. The difference, what I think what you guys are talking about, and I do respect it, is that when you have, like, a parent and you have a child playing, I witnessed by playing with my own guys against other teams before, it's all about fun itself. So there's no parent, child, let's move, come on, and get upset about that decision. It's all about fun itself.
Yeah.
So when you're one-on-one, meaning that if one adult or whatever, or 18-year-old, it's all having fun, that's all it is.
Yeah.
So.
I think just be mindful though, again, like when you have adults playing adults, I've seen it, the same league that Christina referenced. Rockaway Township has a men's softball league that's supposed to be for fun.
Yeah.
They've had
all
to,
these are
they've
for
had to
fun.
have hearings, you've had people secretly recording someone talking because who missed it out in the book, and it's escalated to police being called. So that's why my advice to you was to really create that code of conduct and just keep that in mind, because in the heat of the moment, you don't know how two adults are gonna,
No,
if
I
someone,
agree.
like, you know what I mean, say you
Yeah.
had a bad, you're playing soccer with your workers and you had a bad day and somebody bumps into you.
But the thing
You
is,
might not, you don't know how you're
one
gonna react in the heat
No,
of
I
the moment,
understand.
so having that set in stone before you move forward, I think is important.
Yeah, don't wait for a bad.
Yeah, don't wait for something to
thing- No, I
happen
know.
to then
The
come
only
back
thing I'll
into
say
it.
is, like, if you take, let's say you take baseball, football, hockey, those are more aggressive sports itself. Soccer more is like a fun sport itself.
Soccer is a
But
contact
it's still
sport,
contact.
Well,
and people can get hurt from
Yeah.
a contact sport. All
Yeah.
sports that involve contact can go either way.
yeah,
Soccer is just as physical as, baseball is less physical than soccer. You're doing more contact with soccer than you are with baseball. I would attribute football and soccer to be more similar as far as like the contact involvement.
well, I meant like where people are gonna fight. If people are gonna
Yeah.
fight,
Right.
look at baseball,
But-
say, and football,
Right.
they're
But
more higher,
fight-
you know.
Look, we're not looking to think that there's gonna be
Yeah.
UFC fights happening, right?
No, I
We're
know.
looking at, the fun is gonna be the utmost.
Yeah.
It's not about nobody wants to have fun. I think any adult that wants to go to a field and play a sport is looking to have fun, right? Nobody's looking to have a bad time, they're looking to have a good time.
And this is more or less, guys, and this is not, you know, this is us and everybody doing their due diligence, just as you are.
Yeah.
We all
Right.
do, right? We wanna.
Just
make
share
the
it
right
with
We
decision.
just share
appreciate it, no,
experiences.
see,
Yeah.
but I have been like really thinking about all
Yeah.
these things.
Yeah.
And I think we have one thing in our favor, that this isn't a money game. You know, a lot of times, people who are involved, this is the championship game, they're gonna make money, they're gonna have like some kind of title. That's not gonna happen here with
But you
these
know,
games.
believe it or not, Wendy, and this is gonna sound, it may sound crazy, it may not. When people have money invested in something, they are less likely to do something stupid, because you know,
Yeah.
let's say they
They
paid
don't wanna
$30 to have to play, right? And they don't wanna be kicked out, they don't wanna lose their $30.
Mhm,
When it's for free, they don't care,
mhm.
you know, so that's something to consider, not to say to charge, but when you have money involved in something, it changes the dynamic a little bit. It changes how you're gonna react, and that, hey, I paid for this. Why am I gonna go I'm not gonna mess up, you know?
Mhm.
But if it's for free, I got nothing to lose. I can go run into this guy and guess what? Okay, kick me out. You know, so just something to think about.
And at the end of the day, though, we can't put everybody in bubble wrap,
Yeah,
the whole
yeah.
town, and say, okay, we don't do anything because it's safe to move in any direction. Walk across the street, anything can happen.
Yeah.
So we have to, you're right, like, think logically, and, you know, get all of our ducks in order, and make sure that the people that we do allow on the team know exactly what the score is, and, you know, and I think if we go through that whole process, I think we can accomplish this. And it's only for 2 months too, so we'll see where it goes.
And I guess my last question, and I appreciate you guys being here and talking through this. My last question is, if you got into a situation where, and I don't know the answer, and I don't know what, you know, what you think. Let's say you had a situation with somebody the week prior, right? And they had to say, you know what, you're a little too much. So they come back the following week. and they're hot and they wanna get out there, and then what do? Do you tell them, like, at what point do you say, you know, you really can't be a part of this, and then they say, well, why not?
What do you mean if they behave badly
Right.
the week before, so now they're back
So
again?
now they're back, they've cooled down, they're back, and now, you know, so now you're in a tough position.
I
Now,
don't talk to their mother.
yeah, exactly. You know, so it's something to think about that that would be ideal.
And age groups are important too.
Age
That's
groups are
very
important.
important.
Yes, well, that's what we're thinking about doing, that, keeping everybody connected.
So
that way.
keep writing up whatever, you know, as you come up, send me the email so I have a prize of what you guys, you know, what you're thinking.
Okay, and I'll talk to
do the same.
Muggs,
Talk to
too,
Muggs.
get his feedback. 'cause
And,
he-
you know, I'll see, you know, I'll talk to some of the resources that I told you that I was gonna talk to, including one of the police officers, so I'll see what I can do. You know,
Okay.
And we'll continue the conversation, absolutely.
I
You know where to
appreciate
find
it.
me, so.
Thank
Thank you
you,
both, I
everyone.
appreciate
Thank you.
Thank
Joey, thank you. I know you didn't want to say anything.
He had the hardest job.
I
of
know,
all tonight.
I get it, I gave him a pass last time. Any other public?
I just have one quick thing. You mentioned a code of conduct, which I think is an excellent idea, but doesn't Rockaway have one for every field, like a code
We
of
do.
conduct?
We do, but
Would
I
that
think,
be
It's a
the same?
blanket code of conduct, though, it doesn't cover behaviors on the fields necessarily.
it covers behaviors with the children, and that sort, it would have to be amended a little bit for this situation, but yeah, I mean, we could use
Seems
that.
pretty similar.
We
I would
could
think.
use it as an outline if we had to.
But every sport, like soccer, softball, baseball, swim, have their
Yeah.
own.
Oh, I get it.
And it's
I think
also
it's a
a-
good idea.
It's also I mean, there's really no other way to say it, but like, cover your butt, right? Like, if Wendy's gonna turn around, and
Oh,
just hypothetically, if Wendy's in charge of this whole thing, and she turns around and says, Mike, you can no longer play, what do you mean I can no longer play? Well, you signed this code of conduct that says X, Y, Z. I mean, adults are worse than kids when it comes to these
Yeah.
sports. We've had police repeatedly called to Little League fields. For the same example Rob said, a coach was ejected from a field, not from our town. The Little League said, you can no longer be at our field. He showed up the next week and sat in his car to watch the game. The cops had to come ask, like, and then it ruins the fun
Yeah.
aspect of it, because even like Little League and stuff like that's supposed to be fun. So that was just why I advise, it's helpful. But the town code, we do have one, but like Rosalie said, each sport, because each sport has
They add on to the
specific
code of
things, and
conduct.
it needs to be specific to say like, this code of conduct is for your behavior at this field, this field, this field,
yeah,
et
I'm
cetera.
sure there's
Yeah.
generics, I'm sure that everybody has it, that's great, very good.
You can say something?
No, I was just saying, you said like Little League itself, and that's my whole point. An adult, child, that's the conflict itself.
But
Right,
behavior
but my-
is behavior,
Yeah,
whether
my
there's
point
a
is the
kid involved
behavior
or
of an
not.
adult and an
Yeah,
adult.
I'm just saying that where I've been playing, I've never seen, we play all friendly itself, that's what I'm trying to say.
Right, and that's the goal, right? You want them
And
to
if
have.
I was in a hostile environment itself, I mean, I wouldn't wanna be there itself. So that's why we're trying to make this, because we see.
Really, the code of conduct is more to protect you guys if you're the ones running the league. The code of conduct is not to protect, if I'm playing the sport, it's really not to protect me. It's to protect the sport and the team,
Yeah.
so that I'm being held to these rules. So if I do break the rules, I've signed and agreed to it. It's the same thing when you sign like a job description or something like that. It's just, again, I think it's a great idea. My kids are the same age as Joey and your other kids, so, you know, we've had issues when my daughter was younger where she couldn't play in town anymore, and we were driving 45 minutes 3 nights a week so she could play. So I get it, I think it's a great idea, but I think we just, and I think you'd be in agreement, everyone wants everyone to be protected and want it done the right way so that it can be successful.
We need to smooth it out.
Yep.
All right, any other public? Seeing none, close the meeting to the public. We'll move on to committee member, reports. I can't talk to them.
It's okay.
Rosalie?
We talked about, I have to close
Yes.
with the state on that, and it just happens that I have to close the bank account, but I can't do that in case I need to do,
Okay.
we do have to take those 3 banners off the fence.
Please.
And what's going on in the docks,
I'm not sure yet. Still trying to work out something.
just in case you need us to reach out to the other, to the league in case.
Okay, yeah, I'll let you know. I will John?
I need to follow up on the basketball, see how the season ended up. Last Saturday was doing really well. And junior nights is starting up pretty soon,
April 1st.
First.
So, junior night signups, they gave me a bunch of signs today. So I'll be putting some out. I'll be posting on Facebook. Junior night's registration opens, April 1st, so Wendy, cheerleading opens April 1st. It's-
I have 3 people, I'll be in Disney at the Magic Kingdom.
Just get
So
on
I
it.
had 3
All
friends
right.
calling me. I said, don't even text me, please call me, make sure you hear my voice.
Please, yes. I'll have to text you to remind you.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Mildred,
I do not have anything else.
Christina,
I don't want the Rutgers, and then, it looks like baseball or Little League is, I'm still getting notifications on my email. But it looks like they've got some good things happening, so, that's good.
yeah, I believe they're, right now, their opening day is scheduled for April 18th, I believe. Again, at Fireman's Field. So, I think that's a good time. I think in previous years, you wait a little longer, it's a little warmer, it's a nicer day out. So, looking forward to that. In a couple weeks, we'll be here before we know it. Spring will be here before we know it. And, all the kids will be out there and happy, but thank you. Councilman McDonald.
Good evening, everybody. Apologies for being late. I was at another meeting. Just as I see you mentioned it, we've been going through the budget meeting, presented at the last meeting. So just all that's happening. So hopefully we'll have that wrapped up in the next 2 or 3 weeks, and be able to present it to the introduction. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. With that being said, anyone like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting? Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.
Thank